Hi, and welcome to Unit 3. Of course, we have been discussing some of the Unit 3 concerns, and now I'm going to kind of go through your discussion postings. I posted an earlier video too, an earlier screen capture, and this one is just to kind of capture the other postings that have been made so far. First, I'm actually going to start down with Patricia Stinglands. She mentioned that she was not surprised by the comments, the idea of consistency with point of view. I believe that one of the best things you can do to help to be consistent is to really focus on your paragraph development of using the meal plan with the main idea, evidence, analysis, and link, and to really contemplate what you're saying, what it means, and what is the value of what you're saying. This is something that you can do to help to make sure that as you revise and edit that you are being consistent in your presentation of information. Christy mentioned that she just jumps right in, and that can be a great way to start, but making use of an outline is a great way to keep yourself and your paper on track. You can always start out free writing and then apply an outline as you revise and shift things around. I like that Christy also mentioned that smart thinking was helpful. Working with the thesis statement was something that she saw that she needed to do. Christy, we had a really good exploration in the writing lab just last week, so Unit 8 about thesis statement. So if you just take a look at that, I think you'll find it to be helpful. But we also talked about it at other times too. Sharon mentioned about starting with an outline and also listing. And I'm not quite sure what the smart thinking developments and needs. I see that the advantage and disadvantage of mentoring youth. Is this the feedback from your reviewer? This really feels a little bit sparse, Sharon. I would love to read and hear more about your writing process. Maybe you could add some in a response. Tamika, thank you for your posting. You mentioned that you feel very weak when it comes to writing, but you are using the tools and you've been coming to the writing lab, so I strongly think that you can continue to develop. Remember, it's a process, not a product, so it does take an opportunity to do that. Subject-verb agreements can be something problematic. What I usually tell learners to do is when you are editing your paper is to stop at each verb and then find what noun goes with it and to make sure that those are in agreement. Sheena mentioned that revision is important, and of course the Writing Center and other resources are a great resource. I'd like to hear a bit more about the correction and the mistakes that Smart Thinking pointed out, because there are many different areas that you can use to kind of prepare and to make this a very rewarding experience in first course so that you get access to all the different resources. Letitia mentioned looking at the blank screen and thinking about what you need to write. Remember, you don't have to always set at the computer. Some learners find that using more visual means of drafting or outlining, like a piece of paper and some mind maps, or even, audio, speaking and recording ideas down so that you can kind of explore what you want to say before you say it. Chris mentioned the idea that smart thinking was something he was happy with, which I'm glad to hear. The idea of concluding paragraphs and incorporation of ideas is important, and I really appreciate Chris's point out on feedback. Remember, the writing process does involve an audience. You are not just writing for yourself, you're writing for a professor, you're writing for your field, so you want to think about how an audience would react. So when you're writing, thinking about this often means that you need to share your paper. Using resources like Smart Thinking or your peers, friends, and colleagues will be very helpful. Marjorie-Ann, you had a fantastic posting. I really get an understanding of what your process is, what's concerning, the smart thinking explorations, the idea of revision, word choice, etc. So this is fantastic, and I really think that you have done a good job of framing your exploration. Henry, I'm sorry to hear that you were having problems with smart thinking. I know that that Amy was working with you, or TA, so I'm hoping that you've got that resolved. I'm glad that you're enjoying the lab too. It's nice to hear that we're finding things, and remember, you can always ask questions or express concerns if you have any. Amanda, I would love to hear what you think about smart thinking. Transitions and signal words are always going to be important too. Chandra, I know that writing can be nerve-wracking, and I appreciate you mentioning that. I'm glad that your smart thinking review was helpful. This is a great method here for overusing commas. However, this comma breath rule isn't always, I guess you'd say, as you mentioned, doesn't always work. So instead of thinking in that sense about cues, there's some great resources for commas that you can access through smart thinking, and of course, I'd be happy to share those with you. Sherry, excellent posting. I know that you have not received your review yet. You also mentioned here from viewing, let's see, you mentioned current scholarly knowledge of what is the norm improvement as it pertains to the application of teaching. Okay, the types of writing. Oh, good. So, no, you're good. The stages of writing, I don't need to correct you. You are good, Sherry. I'm glad to hear that you are doing well, and I hope to see you more in the labs, too. And thank you so much for your review of smart thinking, too. If you have any questions as you're going through Unit 3 or, throughout the course, please feel free to reach out to me either through course messages or kathleen.robinson@capella